Hello Kangana, lovely to see you again. And the Dhaakad trailer is obviously rocking. We'll come to that a little bit later. But I'm a big fan of anniversaries. And last year was your 15th year in the movies because Gangster was in 2006. So yay and all that. But what I did is I went back to my review of Gangster from 2006. And this is what I had written. Kangana Ranaut's performance is solid by any standard, but staggering for someone in her first film. She's never less than magnetic, yada yada yada. I'm like, this is something that I would have written for Datto also in Tanu, Weds, Manu, or for Panga or whatever. How did you start at that level of performance, and how have you kept it up for 15 years?
Oh my God. It's such a fortunate and unfortunate thing at the same time. I was all of 16 or something, and I was playing a mother and a gangster mole and a homeless alcoholic who's suicidal, and so many emotions. A mother who lost her child, and bitter love affair, and wanting to drift in a destructive zone, not in a drift in a nice way, but in a destructive zone. So all of that and that young age, all thanks to my director. I had a terrific director as my debut film, and he guided me through this. And if it wasn't for his fundamentals that I got right in my very first film, I would have not come this far. Because before that I did theatre, and with theatre I opened up as an actor, and a lot more happened within me. Coming from mountains, I was very naive, and I had no idea about films and acting and all that. So theatre helped me to an extent. But when I started in films, to understand and to know the intricacy about film acting was a revelation. Coming from theatre, it was a revelation. And my director, Anurag Basu, he taught me in the most, I think, amazing way. And to my credit, he always said that. He's like, you have the most expressive face ever. You translate things in such a pure manner. And he always felt that I was very effortless in everything. And my understanding of emotions at that age, young age, was tremendous. So I think it's a combination of many things.
The first thing that you look for in any hero or heroine or actor is how they look in a particular role, right? And somehow you always manage to look the role, whether it's this very dolled up kind of gangster in Dhaakad, or whether it's a very simple Datto in Tanu, Weds, Manu, or the lovely mother in Panga. There's something, it's not just external, it's something internal. So how do you prepare for the physical and external part of the role, and how do you prepare for the internal and mental part of the character? How do you prepare for that?
We spoke a lot about that last time. Remember when I told you there is this very spiritual thing that I have to connect to my characters spiritually. And to my surprise, I start to resemble them. There is no doubt about it that so many of my pictures now that I see on the net, when I did Thalaivii, I have actually started to look like Jayama in so many ways. That is the magic of believing, right? You become what you believe. And that's how, I think, how strongly I get into my characters. It's a testimony of that I literally start to resemble them. And so many people tell me it's impossible to believe that you can actually resemble so many people, because now that I'm doing my look test for Emergency, and so many of them are coming up that, oh, you have striking resemblance with Indira Gandhi ji. I said, that's what they say about a lot of my characters, but it's more to do with my conviction and how close I feel with them mentally. But something as as commercial and as mainstream as Dhaakad that I'm doing, my process for this was also very, very intense.
Right.
It was not an easy process for me to be in this volatile state of mind, in this distorted frame of mind, because even the anger stems out of pain, you know. Of course, anger is a manifestation of a something rotting within you, you know. So to be in that frame of mind days after days after days and only be emoting to kicking, punching, stabs, slits, bombing, you know, losing limbs or cutting away somebody's, you know, limb, or, you know, things like that, just very gory and very violent in nature. It start to get to you, and to also to reach that heightened state um, of being where you do feel like that volatile. To me, it's very difficult to approach it. I don't believe in histrionics, so for me to approach it, some might find it a little too romantic, but I used to actually do a lot of Chandi Path. You know, when I used to prepare for this role, I used to actually have Bhairavi Path, and I used to do it. I will not share it with many people, only with you I am sharing. So to actually channelize that energy, which is the destructive energy in the universe, so I always approach my characters spiritually, and for me, Agni is a manifestation of a violent energy, destruction, death, all of that, which Bhairavi stands for. So I used to do a lot of Bhairavi part, and that's how I prepared for my role. And I know it's a very different ways of going about your roles, but unless I don't find a spiritual connect with my character and I don't understand them energetically, I don't know them, you know. For me, punching is not like whoosh, 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 you know, it's not like that, you know. For me, if action is not that, and that's why probably when people are seeing it, even the Hollywood reviewers, you know, they're saying that, oh, that looks different, because here I'm not supposed to be like, I think action stars are not supposed to be actors. When an actor does an action movie, for us the crisis is that how do I get close to this situation, no matter how unbelievable it may be, but how do I get close to it? And I found some kind of connection in spirituality and tapping into an energy through spiritual process.
You said, you know, Hollywood, and one of the things that many Indian movies struggle to get right in action movies is the action itself, because obviously the budgets are limited. You cannot do a Mission Impossible kind of movie here because of various reasons and all that. So what gave you the conviction that Dhaakad would come out right? You know, it's like sometimes, you know, however much you prepare for your role, this is when an action movie happens, there is so much of external stuff happening
Right.
around you. You know, it's not just the drama. So what gave you the conviction that Dhaakad would come out looking good like an action movie?
I was very apprehensive. You know, when I started out, I was not able to, they were not able to slot me. I was, in those days, just blow dried hair and just, you know, like being in an item number and all that was very in fashion. And I was not able to get a proper positioning for myself, like you, whether I'm a leading lady or I'm a vamp, or you know, there was no proper characterization for me, and I used to get a lot of suicidal roles. That became my category, and after fashion, I felt that that, you know, maybe because the kind of body type I have, you know, and I got Chris as well for the kind of, you know, body I have and looks I have. So I thought, why don't I do something like Tomb Raider, or why can't I become an action actor? At least it will give me some kind of, you know, employment. I'll get jobs, because I was not getting any work actually more than suicidal roles. So I started to actively train for it. After Chris, I started to take martial arts classes, hand combats and all that, and I was very gung-ho about it. And I thought I'll do like Kill Bill or something like that. It didn't happen for years. After 2-3 years, I left hope, and then something like Queen came about, and then I left my training as well, and I went into acting, you know, majorly into acting driven roles. And at the age of 33, when I was like 70, I was 70 kgs for Amma's role. I was heavy and I had gained a lot of weight. And, you know, even mentally, I've had huge metamorphosis into a different person. Even in my regular life, I don't wear mini skirt anymore, or like I don't wear even jeans anymore. I'm 35 and I've had a certain metamorphosis into a different individual altogether. So then I met Rezi, and he's narrating this film to me, and I'm like, this big, and I'm thinking, oh God, like, this is, I am as far mentally or physically to this character I could have ever been. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this for so many reasons. I can't do this. And but he had certain conviction, and he wouldn't give up on me. And I said, Rezi, no, not, it's not for me now. I've just come to another place in my life right now. I'm going into emergency, and then the incarnation Sita and all that. So he said, you can do it, you have to do it, and why not? And but lose the weight, huh? Lose the weight, he would say. I said, I would lose the weight, but this is not just about the weight. There is so much more. I don't see myself in these kind of clothes anymore and all that. He's like, no, we'll do it, we'll do it. It's his conviction, and the fact that, he's also somebody who is like the topmost ad filmmaker in the country today. And he's just, he's so international with his work. To be honest, even for me, even the age was also a certain, like, what would I look like now? Even when I lose weight, I used to think that, even if I lose weight, would that be enough, or would I look out of place? Or, like, I am not even seeing myself without a bindi anymore. So I don't feel anymore this character. Anyway, so he convinced me. And after that, whatever has happened is only because of his conviction. And little bit credit I will give to that 4 years training that I had done, and a very strong intention that I'd put out there, that I should do something like this, and it just happened too late in the day. But nevertheless, I think we did something here.
Good that it happened. So, would you say that you evolve as an actor with every project, and would you say that you evolve as a human being with every project?
Oh, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Another life, another dimension, another string of experiences, a bank of emotions that you generate within you. It expands your perception as an individual. Something like I said, Agni, as much I wanted to be her growing up, and as a young woman, I wanted to be somebody like her. But I never knew that I was so far away from her. It's only when I started to be on the set, and I felt this this need for wanting to be that volatile as a person, which I was not anymore. And I didn't know that kind of destructive anger. And for me as an actor, I just can't take anything onto me just thinking, just because it is borrowed, or it is taken from outside, or it's just implanted in me. It has to generate from within me. And that volatile anger that I had to be, I just didn't know how to do it. And then slowly I started to seek, and then I used mantras, like I told you, the mantras, and that tapping into that energy. And I think I got it. And I was like, okay, fine, I feel it now. I feel her energy, and I know what it must be like. Because no matter how much we want to believe that, maybe we know anger, and we know a destructive streak, and but we probably cannot, because even if the person who has wronged me the most in the world, say, like, the person who threw acid on my sister, suppose, even if he's wronged us, or my family, if I'm actually given a knife in my hand, would I have the will and the intention to actually stab that person, even if I'm told there are no consequences? I don't think I will do it. So to get into the authentic essence of anger and destruction, and what it takes for a person to break the wall, where you can't define between life and death, where human bodies for you are just, they're just they're just like, how you chop a tree off. It's probably like that. You can chop a head off and you not feel anything about it. So to get into that frame of mind, what would that be like? It's exciting, and like I told you, I used mantras for that.
And after this movie and before you enter the next one, you just take it out of you. It's like you just leave it behind. Does it take a while?
Oh, I'm more than happy to leave it behind. It is something that leaves you automatically. It is a heightened, a very high state of emotion. And even if the shot is done, you sit on a chair, you feel so calm and so nice. And then again, you have to call for a shot and you're like, oh my God, you go again. So you have to again generate that amount of energy. One thing I really realized being an action hero is that the amount of energy you need in you is a tremendous energy one needs. Yeah, that is something it leaves you, but also it's very cathartic, I must say. It's very, very cathartic in terms of using your body and using your breathing, your whole entire emotional stamina to do things that are, like how often do we shout or we scream or we just let go like that? So after every action sequence, you feel unusually calm and you feel absolutely great.
One of the comments under your trailer of Dhaakad was, love her or hate her, you must appreciate her performance and proves why she is still the queen. Is that something you're comfortable now that even though you may be polarizing to people as a person, you're uniformly appreciated for your acting prowess, your talents and skills as an actor?
Well, I still find it unsettling when people say love her or hate her. I don't know what have I done to deserve hate. I have been, I think, quite vocal about national issues and about the well-being of larger well-being of everybody, and just about some people have problem with just because you breathe. Probably those kind of people can hate me. I don't hate anyone, and I feel for people to always refer to me as somebody love her or hate her, but you can't ignore her or use adjectives like hate her or I don't think I have done anything to deserve that.
Like, for instance, in an interview earlier this year, you were asked about the hijab burqa controversy that was going on, and you spoke about that. So, do you believe that actors or creators, because of their greater visibility, they have a greater responsibility to kind of voice out their opinions to society because they are going to be heard out more, or there are going to be more people listening to you?
Anybody for that matter, I think somewhere actors do believe that they are above the rest of the world. That's why they think they have this choice of wanting or not wanting to speak. But that's not how it works. They should not even be given this choice whether or not to speak about national issues or to speak about things that are of consequence. They must speak. It should be compulsory for everybody to participate in the larger picture. When everybody is discussing it, whatever you say, not necessarily you have to give verdict or make really strong statements, but just how people have debates on television, just how people discuss on the streets, just how people are having opinions in a school or they're asking teachers questions. They are not above rest of the country. Actors are also part of this country. So if a journalist is asking me a question, why should I dodge that? And why should I say, oh, I am above? I can even give something, whatever my thoughts are on the matter. I'm not saying that I have to offend somebody or please somebody, but we are not above the rest of the nation. So we should behave like that only. We should behave very normal. We should not behave like we are above rest of the country and their issues are not our concern, or the concerns of the rest of the country are not our concern. That is not the right approach.
Right, that's exactly where I was coming, because there are some actors who'd probably say no comments or something like that. Whereas you actually take it on, and you are quite open about what you say.
They may not have to say like how I say, but I know for sure that they behave like as if it's an option for them. It is optional for them to be concerned about the country or the issues that are happening, and they can have the privilege of not being informed. They can play dumb, they can play dispassionate, they can come across as cute plastic people, and they think it's just cute to be like that. That is such a wrong attitude, for them to display. But you can obviously avoid things that can get you in trouble. That's a different matter. But if somebody is talking about the border situation, or somebody is talking about the COVID situation, or somebody is talking about something which concerns entire nation, you can't play cute and dumb, right? You've got to be out there and be properly informed, or otherwise ask your entourage, what is the news today? I am going to face people. Celebrity means a celebrated being. As a celebrated being, it is my prerogative to be well informed and to be out there and to be presentable, not just by hair and makeup, but यहाँ भी तो कुछ update करके जाओ ना. So I think it is a must.
In the badass finale of your show Lockup, you use the word survival of the fittest to describe the people inside who were there. Would you say that in a way that applies to you as well?
I think Lockup is so much so much about my personality. Ekta says because there are so many FIRs and so many controversies around Kangana, and there were just so many summons, and then of course many other people got into trouble, and they were just FIRs, FIRs, FIR. That's when she got the idea of having a lockup somewhere. This is also inspired by my real life, and of course we are breaking all the norms of what is, like bringing the culture of being bad is good, bad is new good. So yes, it's been a lot of fun, and survival of the fittest is, of course, that is the ultimate law of life.
Was it fun doing a TV show, or does it require a separate kind of acting altogether?
For the hosting.
For the hosting, yeah.
No, for me, hosting has been a lot of fun. You know why? Because I get fed up of always going away from myself. For everything, I need to mute my own self to channelize somebody else or something else. And hosting is so much more just about to be there and to be yourself, and let your experiences speak out, and you respond to everything as who you are. And of course it needed me to be a little bit more harsh, which I'm not an individual, but Ekta wanted me to have that tone, very harsh tone, because she wanted it to be badass. But overall, I enjoyed the fact that I can be there as myself, and there is some platform, like for example, I really enjoy doing good interviews is because I can be myself. Otherwise my job doesn't require me to be myself.
Can you tell me 5 roles that made you really push against your limit? 5 roles that you just had to really...
Lately my roles are getting very, very difficult for me. The most difficult has been so far, I think, I would say Thalaivii's role has been very difficult for me. Second difficult is Dhaakad. It is also something which is very far away from my own self. She's always angry and always, fighting and getting hit herself, also taking a lot of pain onto herself. Number 3 would be very difficult is Datto's role. That dialect and that accent and, and the dichotomy of both the characters. It was very difficult for me, and that monologue got to me. And I remember telling Anandji that I'm not somebody who will give up easily. And that day I remember I learnt it whole night and everything, and it is Anandji wanted to one take, so I gave 2-3 times, and I don't ever remember giving up, and I told him, I said, Anandji मेरे से नहीं हो रहा, आप 2-2 लाइन करके ले लो. So he said, I almost got it, but you just fumbled in one thing. Let's try one last one, and if you don't, then I'll do it in bits and pieces. And then I did one more take and I could get it. So that role was another very difficult role. Manikarnika was a very difficult role for me. Very, very difficult. And especially because I was also directing it. Number 4, I think I would say gangster. That role just took so much away from me as a child. Everything, my innocence of life, and so much more that, and of course the possibility of ever being a happy-go-lucky heroine. It also took that away from me. There was no way then after that. I had to be this person that I am today. It sabotaged every possibility of being a Bollywood heroine after gangster. So that was also, these 5 have been very difficult for me.
Right. But I do think that you have achieved something more than what you would call a Bollywood heroine, because you're able to, carry films on your own. But also, I think it's important to, like you say, choose these characters that are, like, on the one hand, Jaya in Panga is such a, in a way, a very normal person, but at the same time there is so much internal within her, and on the other hand you have your Dhaakad, which is outwardly so, so different. So I hope you continue doing these non-Bollywood roles, as you call them, and thank you so much for this time, and all the best for Dhaakad.
Thank you so much, sir. I hope to get your review of that also.
Thank you.